Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive into this because today we are unpacking a seriously fascinating architectural shift and how the internet actually operates. For over 2 decades now, we've lived with a very specific version of the web. It was built on this beautiful promise of global connection, right? But if we're being honest, it's quietly evolved into a massive infrastructure of continuous surveillance and data extraction. The source material we're exploring today proposes a complete radical departure from that reality. It's a concept called Web4, and it's explicitly designed from the ground up to be a solution to modern digital servitude. We're going to explore how this totally new paradigm attempts to hard-code personal sovereignty directly into the mathematics of the internet itself. Here's a quick map of how we'll unpack this today. 1. The digital identity crisis. 2. Web4, architecture of freedom. 3. UID, reclaiming personal identity. 4. Atrium, reclaiming social spaces. And finally, 5. Freedom in action.
All right, starting with Section 1, the digital identity crisis.
The source text actually doesn't pull any punches in its assessment of our current situation. It describes the Web 2 paradigm as evolving into an infrastructure of digital servitude. It even goes so far as to label contemporary social media platforms as feudal digital monarchies, which I suppose makes us the digital peasants. Now, these are absolutely bold claims, but the analysis argues that internet users have essentially become mere tenants living on corporate digital estates. Basically, every single interaction we have online is mediated by centralized gatekeepers, massive tech conglomerates that are operating these incredibly comprehensive surveillance frameworks. And, the specific costs of the system are profound. According to the text, we are essentially trading our fundamental privacy just to get basic access to communication channels. Just look at the pain points outlined here. We've got continuous surveillance. We have identity lock-in, meaning you can't just easily pack up and move your digital life somewhere else. We have expression that's totally dictated by algorithms instead of genuine human connection. And even when Web3 came along with decentralized finance, it largely failed to solve this core problem of human identity and social infrastructure. Your operational control and your actual user identity were still tied to centralized servers and those extractive middleman platforms. Moving on to Section 2, Web4, architecture of freedom. In Web4, which was designed by Linkspreed, freedom is defined as a strict, non-negotiable metric. And what's absolutely vital to grasp here is that this is not framed as some abstract ideal, a catchy corporate slogan, or a vague policy promise buried in a terms of service agreement. Not at all. The source asserts that in Web4, freedom is literally hard-coded into the underlying mathematics, the cryptography, and the very architecture of the web itself. It treats digital space as a true extension of human presence, meaning you should have the exact same unalienable rights online as you do in the physical, real world. Okay, let's move to and see how this builds into Layer 1 of the stack, Section 3, UID, reclaiming personal identity. So, UIID stands for Universal Integrated Identity Decoupled. The text defines this as the fundamental cryptographic substrate of personal freedom. Think of it like holding the actual deed to your digital house, rather than just renting a room from a tech giant. Look, if a centralized authority can just revoke your identity or force you to reveal your entire biographic history just to log in somewhere, you don't actually possess freedom. What you have is a revocable lease on your digital existence. UIID fundamentally changes the game by decoupling the human being from platform control entirely. It makes the individual the ultimate, unquestionable administrative authority over their own digital persona. To really understand how it achieves this, let's contrast it with what we have now. In Web 2, your identity is unified. Think about your main email address or your favorite social login. It acts as a single tracking index. This allows platforms and advertisers to build massive cross-site surveillance profiles, tracking everything you do. UIUID, however, uses a dual-layer architecture. You have a permanent core ID that is anchored safely to your physical device hardware, and you rarely ever disclose it. For everything else, UIUID derives what are called aliases. So you have a financial alias, a completely separate social alias, maybe a government alias, and mathematically, these are cryptographically unlinkable to your core ID, meaning even if different platforms secretly collude to try and track you, they simply can't. Your movements remain entirely private. Now, you might be wondering, how do you actually verify yourself if your identity is split up into all these aliases? The answer lies in something called ZKPs, or zero-knowledge proofs. Now, I know that sounds highly technical, but the concept is actually remarkably elegant. A zero-knowledge proof is simply a cryptographic method used to mathematically confirm a specific fact to a verifier without ever revealing the underlying data that proves it. And this brilliantly illustrates how everyday interactions are going to change. Legacy identity systems force a terrible binary choice. Hand over your entire passport or driver's license, exposing your full name, exact birth date, and home address, or get totally denied service. UID replaces this all-or-nothing approach with surgical minimal data disclosure. With a ZTP, you can mathematically prove to a website that you are over 18 years old. It's exactly like showing a bouncer at a bar a green light that mathematically proves you're over 21, but without having to hand over your actual ID with your home address and full name printed on it. The website just gets a true signal. They never see your actual birth date, they never see your name, and they never ever see your underlying biographic data. You decide exactly who accesses what data and nothing more. UID's security model goes even further than that, because true freedom requires total immunity from central data breaches and password leaks, right? So UID binds your private keys directly to your physical hardware using WebAuthn biometrics. Your root credentials literally never leave your device. There's even a physical UID smart card designed for real-world tap-and-verify moments when you don't even have an internet connection. And, importantly, the source notes that transitioning to this isn't a nightmare. You don't have to abandon your current digital footprint because one-click migrations from your legacy logins are built right in. Plus, UID expands way beyond just humans. It provides dedicated sovereign identities for AI agents and hardware devices, which guarantees that humans always maintain administrative authority over their machines. Okay, let's jump up to layer 6 of the stack. Section 4, Atrium. Reclaiming social spaces. Atrium is defined by Linkspreed as a super app and a social network as a service engine. Just think about the thousands of hours that creators and communities invest into building vibrant spaces on legacy platforms, only to wake up one day and realize they own absolutely none of it. Atrium changes that by granting communities absolute freedom of assembly and expression. It does this by allowing literally anyone to deploy a fully customized, decentralized super app environment in seconds, simply by using natural language AI prompts. This means you can build a fully functioning social network just by typing out what you want it to look and act like. It instantly lowers the technical barrier to digital sovereignty all the way down to zero. One of the most massive shifts Atrium introduces is algorithmic freedom. Today, corporate algorithms are complete black boxes, right? And they're often explicitly designed to be rage-inducing, just to maximize your screen time and ad impressions. We are basically being behaviorally engineered. Atrium completely replaces this toxic dynamic with community-defined rules. The community itself dictates how feeds are curated, what content gets highlighted, and how information actually flows. We can finally say goodbye to the endless algorithmic doom scrolling that's designed just to sell us ads. It is a fundamental shift from covert corporate manipulation to transparent, autonomous control over our own perception of the world. So the crucial point is this number right here, 0%. Atrium strictly enforces a 0% platform take rate. On legacy platforms, the corporate hosts extract massive, sometimes ruinous revenue shares from creators, often up to 50%. In this new Web4 architecture, all the monetary value, the subscriptions, the commerce generated within a community, it stays entirely with the people who actually generated it. And that 0% take rate is paired perfectly with this number, 100%. Communities maintain 100% data ownership. They own their user graphs, their content databases, and all their interaction records. The extractive economics of legacy platforms are completely structurally dismantled because the platform no longer owns the audience. The community does. Bringing it all together now, Section 5, Freedom in Action. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it maps the entire journey from the problem we face today to the realized freedom of tomorrow. In digital identity, we move from centralized tracking straight to UID's absolute personal ownership. For data sharing, we finally move away from forced full disclosure and shift to zero-knowledge proofs, where you are the one controlling access. In our social networks, we escape the arbitrary bans and massive take rates by using Atrium for 100% data ownership. And finally, we replace those outrage-optimized algorithms with autonomous information control. This layout is essentially the ultimate blueprint for the Web4 stack. So let's walk through what this actually looks like for a real user on a daily basis. Step 1 is entering. You authenticate into a community with a single tap using a UID alias. Boom. You prove your right to be there without exposing your real-world name or your browsing history. Step 2 is participating. You interact on an Atrium super app where the rules are governed strictly by your community, and 100% of the economic value stays right there within that community. There's no middleman extracting a toll from you. And step 3, which is perhaps the most important part, exiting. If the community ever decides to evolve or migrate, you simply pack your bags.
You carry 100% of your user data, your social graphs, and your identity credentials with you. There is no central gatekeeper holding your data hostage.
The source material makes an incredibly compelling argument. Real freedom simply cannot exist if our digital identities and our social interactions are owned and monetized by corporate middlemen. Web4, through the power of UIID and Atrium, aims to establish a digital realm where freedom is an unalienable, mathematically guaranteed right, not just some temporary privilege granted to you by a terms of service agreement. It truly represents a fundamental shift from renting our digital existence to owning it completely. Which leaves us with one final, profound question to consider as we wrap up this explainer. If digital freedom is a mathematically guaranteed right, what will you build with it?